Hello, welcome back to the SCW Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, George Jones. Once again, I'm joined by another fantastic guest from Musician Pro Wrestling, none other than World Heavyweight title finalist, none other than the professional bodybuilder and Payton's muscle-bound hero, Gaznorks. How are you this evening, Gaznorks?
I'm good, George. Thanks for having me on.
More than welcome. So we're just about a week away from one of your biggest matches, sort of in the career of Gaznorks. How are you feeling?
I'm quietly confident, mate. I'm training hard, and I've been working hard towards this all year. And I'm finally, getting where I want to go with the business. I would say it's probably my biggest match of my career. So I'm excited, but at the same time, I know who I'm up against, and he's one of the best in the country, I would say. So it's tough,
Definitely. I was going to say, let's start at the beginning then. So, were you a wrestling fan growing up at all?
I was, yeah. I mean, I grew up watching it. I looked up to these guys. I always wanted to be like them one day. So that's kind of how I fell into it. And I met a lot of people when I was younger who were into the same thing. I mean, Danny Walsh and me were good friends at one point when we were younger. Obviously, things have changed now. So I've just grown up with the right people who had the same passion as me about it. And that's pretty much how I fell into wrestling.
Awesome. So talk me through that. How did you sort of get into wrestling then? How did you become a wrestler?
It started off backyard wrestling, like most kids do. They play around and that. And then one day we decided to purchase a ring, and it went from there, really. We got professional training off Joel Redman, UK Dominator, a fair load of, pro wrestlers across the country. And that's pretty much how we fell into it. And we went down the pro path then and learnt the craft that way. So that's how it all basically came round. A bunch of kids just playing around and that. And now, now we're doing it on a professional platform.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, so how long have you been wrestling then?
I've been wrestling probably on and off for about 13 years.
It's a long time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, I've had injuries and I've been on and off with wrestling, but somehow I'm always drawn back to it, so...
No, it's amazing how it sort of lures you back in. It's just that appeal, obviously.
It does, yeah.
It's got that appeal, isn't it? It's got that addictiveness, wrestling. That's the thing with wrestling.
It has, yeah.
You can hate what's going on. You can hate sort of the injury side of it, but yeah, it's still there's always almost like a secret calling that will want to get you back into the sport, so to speak.
I think once you've tasted it, and once you've been on the pro stage and in front of an audience and had that that buzz and that passion for it, it's always going to draw you back. It's addictive.
Yeah, no, brilliant.
It's something you've got such a deep love for. You end up going back.
Yeah, no, of course. I was going to say, what would you say has been one of your favourite matches so far in your career?
Favourite matches? I've had a lot, but I'm actually going to go back to something quite recent. I've wrestled Luke Phoenix, the previous heavyweight champion. Amazing wrestler. So much respect for the guy. I mean, he's done so well in his own career, and to step in the ring with him and to get that chance, I actually asked John Joe if I could wrestle Luke Phoenix possibly one day, and lo and behold, he brought him in to wrestle me, and I had a great match with him. I managed to beat him. It was a tough match, but yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was
really enjoyed wrestling him.
That was like a really, really good match. I felt that it was a real good test to see of sort of where you are. If you look at Luke Dragon Phoenix now, this is a former LEP World Heavyweight Champion. This is a guy that's since gone on to win the 2017 UK Super 8 with International Pro Wrestling. That's the level of caliber of wrestler you've gone against.
Yeah, he's an amazing wrestler.
That to be sort of in the ring, obviously against him, and obviously to come out with the victory was massive. And this Luke Phoenix was particularly a more darker side of Luke Phoenix. He was particularly. It was almost like he was bitter. He was trying to get you sort of out of sort of wrestling going forward. I felt that. Did you think he was a bit sort of harsh with how brutal he was in the ring, or did you expect nothing less? Really, it's the competitive side.
I don't really expect anything less. I mean, I knew he was going to bring his A game. And like I say, there was many times in the match where I thought, I'm losing here, and I don't know how much more I've got in the tank, but I managed to pull it off, and I proved something to myself. I think I proved something to the LEP wrestling fans as well. That I'm legit and I'm here for a reason.
Yeah, I was going
to. I feel like I missed out when I went up against Mad Dog, and Dead Man's Hand interfered, and I didn't get to have a full match with Mad Dog. I mean, I did, at the time I didn't really know what was going on. The guys came out. I hit my G-force. I pinned him, and then I saw footage backstage, and the guys come out and interfered, and they cut my match short, and they didn't give us both a chance to prove ourselves. But for John to then set me up with somebody as, like I say, as prestigious as Luke, and I felt like after that I had to prove something to myself. You know, dead man's hand coming out and interfering, and they had no right being out there.
No, of course. I don't really want to give them a platform. We'll mention sort of the closet in the room now. So, what's your feeling of sort of Dead Man's Hand and what they're currently doing in LEP? What's your thoughts?
To be honest, I think they're a bit of a cancer to the company. They need to be put down. Somebody needs to do something about them. They feel like they control LEP. They have some large part in LEP that they're in charge and they can do what they want. And that shouldn't be the case. They shouldn't be coming out in championship matches and in the finals and things like that. They have no part in LEP to do as they please.
No, definitely. I think they almost seem to be able to get away with it. Unfortunately, they seem to have a lot of success with winning belts. Currently, 3 of the top belts in LEP are with Dead Man's Hand, which is really, really awesome to see. I can only hope that sort of this coming Sunday, you're finally an LEP wrestler's going to have a belt, which hopefully will be yourself in the World Title Tournament. But no, I would say, as for Dead Man's Hand, we don't really want to give them any sort of platform, so I'll stop talking about them now. But in terms of going back to your match with Luke Dragon Phoenix, that was a really, really good match, but he really targeted your left leg. I was really surprised you were able to come out with the win. Have you had any follow-up injuries based on sort of how hard-hitting that match was?
I had a lot of bruising to my leg. I struggled to walk for a good week. I mean, it affected my training, but I just got on with it and sucked it up and done what I had to do, and to continue with, like I say, my training towards what I'm doing. But I'm not going to lie. I mean, Luke really did seriously injure my leg. I mean, it was, like I say, it was bad for a week. It was severely bruised and uncomfortable to walk on. But, that's part of the game. That's how it is. He found a weakness and he kept attacking it. And, at the end of the day, I would probably do the same if I was trying to take someone out. If I found a weakness or managed to cause a form of injury, I'm going to attack that. I'm going to attack that injury. I'm going to want to get the win in my match. So I'm going to attack the weak spot. And Luke done exactly that.
Yeah, that's correct. I was going to say, obviously, what you've also had another recent hard-hitting match with none other than the enforcer Jago. There's a lot of tests you've faced recently that it's really sort of put you sort of under a lot of pressure. That was another victory for you, which once again shows your credibility. You seem to be able to battle the odds, even if there's somebody that's bigger than you, somebody that's out to do you damage. Nobody's been able to stop you so far in this tournament, which I think is a real credit to the current momentum you're on. And what I would say is this finisher, the G4, I was going to say, nobody seems to be able to kick out of it. It seems to be sort of the magic touch, so to speak. Well, where did you get that finisher from, and what's your sort of affinity with using that move?
Well, growing up, I was a big fan of Brock Lesnar, and I still am. And he always used to use the F5 as his finishing move, and I always loved that move. And I loved how he used to use it and take men out, and it would be a one-hit move. So I started training to use that move, and I put a little bit more of a twist on it and threw the opponent as hard as I could and tried to force him off a lot harder than Brock Lesnar does, because I'm not tall as Lesnar, so I can't bring him down from such a height. So I use my strength to elevate them in the air so I can bring them down harder on the mat, and obviously they land straight on their face and their head. It gets the knockout. It's enough to put the opponent away. I always manage to get a 1-2-3 off it. Not many people kick out of the G-Force.
Definitely
not. I don't think since I've made my return, I don't think anyone's been able to kick out.
No, I haven't seen anybody kick out. It seems to be the move that will get the job done. And if you look at this, you've done really, really well. You've really done well to sort of recover from the injury you had previously. And if you look at sort of it, you came back and he was in a fantastic triple threat match at the last LEP Super Show, which is probably one of my matches of the year. I thought your match with the British Thug, Scott Johns and Leo Bryan, that was another hard-hitting match, which once again stole the show. I think you've got an affinity for basically putting on matches that people are going to want to come back and see, which is really, really good. I'm really looking forward to seeing this up-and-coming World Title Final tournament match, and I think it's going to be interesting. But I do need to put this out there too. I do think there's a bit of conspiracy going on, so to speak. I think that if you look at the matches you've had to face compared to Danny Walsh has only faced one wrestler in this tournament, which was the Phoenix Shane Palmer, which he took him to the limit. I thought Shane Palmer did a really good effort, but then Danny conveniently now hasn't wrestled on the last 2 LEP shows, while you have had very hard matches, particularly this past show where he faced the professional Josh Knott to advance to the final. That was another hard-hitting match. Do you think it's almost deliberate on Danny's part to avoid sort of putting himself at risk, so to speak? It's almost like a game in his eyes, so to speak. So he's got this advantage over you.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think there might be more to this than meets the eye. I mean, he has avoided getting in the ring, and he's managed to get himself to the finals without putting in as much effort as me. I mean, even on the last show, he stated that he had a match and it was 22 minutes long, and I only managed a 6-minute match. But I stated to him that it doesn't take me 22 minutes to take my opponent out. It only takes me 6 minutes. I think Danny Walsh is secretly worried about what's going to happen next week. I know a lot of people think, he is prestigious. He's achieved a lot in his career, but he's never faced me in the condition I'm in, with the focus I have. So, we'll have to see next week what happens. Or maybe Danny's just keeping himself fresh for this match, which maybe does put him in an advantage.
I think you're looking like this. Danny Walsh is obviously a 2-time former LEP world champion, so he's had the belt before. He always seems to up his game with the title tournament. But what I would say is everything's all convenient for him. It's all suited, so to speak, that he's got the advantage. When he's not arranging for people that are meant to be his friends through tables, he's basically then sort of just not seemed to be able to do much. He seems to be very much taking a back step. Although what I do think is an interesting element is this feud that seems to be going on with the Mad Dog Vinny Clay. I wonder if that's going to have any sort of impact in your match. I hope that it doesn't make your match. I hope your match is one-on-one, really. That's what I'm getting at.
I'm hoping it's one-on-one. I know Vinny Clay has many issues with Danny Walsh, but I've also got a lot of respect for Vinny Clay, and me and Vinny Clay are actually quite good friends. Outside of out of the wrestling, we have a lot of respect for each other, and I can't see Vinny Clay wanting to get involved in this match out of respect for me. So what I worry about is maybe Dead Man's Hand and all this that's been going around with Danny Walsh, and he seems to be quite connected to him. And that's my concern, would be Dead Man's Hand maybe interfering in this match, and not so much Vinny Clay.
That's the trouble. As I said, we're starting to know who they are. We still don't really know why they're here. Unfortunately, that is always an element. Whenever there's gold involved, they seem to be there. And the fact you've got obviously this premonition from the so-called Master of Shadows, whoever they may be, apparently they are going to be at this show. I just really hope they don't choose your match as a place to sort of show their business. Clearly, it should be a one-on-one affair. Danny, obviously, the great wrestler he is, he needs to do this one-on-one. I know he's cunning, and he thinks he's God. But if he is God, let this match be one-on-one. May the best man win, I think, which I really hope that. I think if he has to cheat to win, then I think that will sort of tarnish the belt if he does win.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there.
Have you got sort of any sort of strategy lined up for Danny? Any particular way? Have you done any scouting or anything like that? Have you got sort of anything sort of you want to do to try and sort of make sure you're guaranteed the victory?
There's a few things that I have been thinking of, and I've watched a lot of footage with Danny Walsh wrestling and studied him, but I don't want to give too much away. All I will say is I'm training so hard for this match. I'm definitely coming into this match the stronger man. That's guaranteed. I'm definitely carrying the size and the power. But then Danny Walsh is an extremely technical and, like you say, cunning wrestler. So, but all I can do is train my hardest and obviously come in as fresh as I can and as strong as I can, and hope that I can get the job done on the day.
Everyone here at the SCW podcast is definitely behind you. We really hope that you can get the victory. Hopefully you'll be the new LEP World Heavyweight Champion. You'll certainly bring some prestige to that belt, which will be well deserved. Hopefully you can get it done. Clearly, a lot of people are calling you, a lot of the critics within LEP are calling you the underdog. They are saying that you are injured. You've got these injuries from wrestling Jago and Phoenix and people like that. They're basically saying that you're sort of very unlikely to get the win here. What would you say to people that are saying you don't really have a chance?
I'd probably say to them, I don't think they realise who I am, what I'm capable of, and how tough I am. I think I've proved that in many of my matches. I've had the crap beaten out of me, and yet I've still picked up the victory. Even this gone weekend when I wrestled against Josh Knott. I mean, that kid he's something else. I mean, I can see why they call him the professional, but still managed to put him away.
Definitely, that's another former LEP World Heavyweight Champion that you've managed to beat.
Exactly.
So you're on a really good run of winning these. I just hope this streak can extend to this coming Sunday's Super Show. I really hope that that's going to happen. I really hope that you obviously get the win. And as I said earlier, we really hope it'll be 1-on-1. Hopefully, if Danny, I'm sure Danny will be listening to this. He listens to everything. I really hope that he's taking this message on board and it's a 1-on-1 fight. This title tournament deserves a 1-on-1 final. It doesn't deserve a match to be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's 1-on-1. It's two men, fighting for a belt. It's the most prestigious belt in LEP.
Definitely.
So it should be 1-on-1. There shouldn't be any outside interference. If Dan needs to come to this and he needs to be a man, he needs to face me like a man.
Talk me through. I can hear sort of the intensity and animosity, but talk me through your history with Dan Walsh as well.
I grew up with him. He was my best friend. We spent a lot of time together. We loved wrestling. We watched it. We spent a lot of time in our early careers wrestling together and spending time together and doing shows. And we always had a lot in common, a lot of respect for each other. But somehow that's since I've come back, it's gone out. It's gone out the window. It's no longer. There's not much respect from him, and I don't respect somebody who doesn't respect me.
Yeah, no, of course. So, I think obviously it's a shame to see a friendship be sort of butchered, so to speak, like this. But I think sometimes winning gold and winning a title belt can outweigh any friendship. I think obviously gold can sometimes be more important than sort of loyalty, if that makes sense. But no, this has been an interesting match. Let's talk about sort of a familiar face that's so-called a regular co-host on this SCW Wrestling podcast, none other than the general manager at Limitation Pro Wrestling, Mr. John Joe Obery. He's picked you as sort of his handheld pick for the tournament. Has that sort of gives you an extra confidence, an extra lift, so to speak? Ever since he said that, you seem to be, the streak continues. You seem to be winning, and you don't seem to be struggling to get these wins matches.
Yeah, I would say John Joe's belief in me is definitely contributing to the success I'm having. I believe in myself more than anyone does, but to have someone like John Joe backing me and he's always saying how great my matches are and how good he believes I am, and you think I'm going to go through to the end, and obviously I am now, and he believes I can win, and having that support within the wrestling, within LEP, it's fantastic. It's nice to have. So yeah, I'd definitely say John definitely contributes to the confidence I have. He's one of my biggest supporters, and he's a great guy. Yeah, he really is. He's got my back, and I hope to do him proud. Like you say, I'm his number one pick for this. So
I really hope that you get the win. I think you deserve to get a win. For obviously you've had more matches than anybody else in this tournament. As I said earlier, I think you really deserve to get the win. Hopefully it's going to be a classic. I'm really looking forward to doing this. What we're going to do, we're just going to give the details of the coming show for anybody that might want to buy tickets. So the LEP Super Show will be taking place on Sunday, the 29th of October, and it'll be taking place at the Acorn Centre in Torquay. You can get tickets at www.skiddle.com. Also on the LEP Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Talking Wrestling. It's going to be a really good show. It looks like a really packed lineup. There's a lot of people there. Clearly, we've got the World Heavyweight Title Tournament final, which we've been discussing in detail. But it's probably going to be one of the shows of the year. Have you got sort of anything else you want to add before we sort of wrap this up this evening?
It's not really much I want to add. I just hope everyone can be there and show their support. And it's going to be a great show. You've got some great matches, and like you say, you've got the finals. You've got the heavyweight final. Which myself, I'll be in, and against Danny Walsh. And yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing show. And I'd love to see friends, family, and all the LEP fans there, and just to show their support and be there. Because at the end of the day, you guys are the reason I do what I do. So come and support me, and I'll do my best to make sure that I walk home that night the new LEP heavyweight champion.
We really wish you luck here from SCW, the Wrestling Podcast, and we really appreciate you sort of coming on this evening, Gaznorks, to give your time. Obviously, tell us about your...
That's right, George. Any time, mate. You just get hold of me, and I'll see what I can do to free some time up to obviously have a conversation with you or a chat about what's going on.
Fantastic. This has been the SCW Wrestling Podcast. I've been your host, George Jones. Been joined by Gaznorks. This has been obviously a rather in-depth interview. Please don't forget to like the facebook.com Talking Wrestling page, also the SCW Wrestling page on Facebook, and you can also like Gaznorks' page. You've got a page on Facebook before we end this.
I do indeed, yeah.
Please give it a shout out.
Own page. So yeah, please like, share, and follow.
Brilliant.
Keep up to date with all my latest activities that are going on within the wrestling.
Perfect. Thank you so much all for listening. This has been the SCW Wrestling Podcast. I've been George Jones, joined by Gaznorks. Thank you for your time.